Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here at my next Korra episode review. This is going to be my review for K213 Darkness Falls and K214 Light in the Dark, the final two episodes of Book 2 Spirits. I'm just going to say before I get started that the last two episodes, these two obviously air on TV tomorrow in America, but we obviously got them a week early on last Friday because of the coronation thing. We got the 10,000 reblogs, and so we got them early. All I'm going to say on that is that definitely, even if you've seen the finale already, watch it on TV to help Nick with the ratings. They did us a favor by coming up with this idea of like putting the two episodes online, so you wouldn't have to wait a week for the last two episodes. Let's return the favor as a fandom and give Nick the rating they deserve for this finale. So that's all I'll say on that. But the finale itself, wow, really impressive. And I think the word epic is often overused when talking about stuff like this, but honestly, I think it's perfectly valid to say about these episodes. These were epic episodes, an epic finale. Just, I loved the book one finale, but this was just on a completely other level because of what was at stake, just the drama around everything, and just everything was just perfect, I think, in terms of creating intensity around the episode and stuff like that. So it definitely rivals or almost equals the Avatar: The Last Airbender finale. I could see arguments either way as to which one is better, but this was definitely amazing. And I think what really made it better than book one was that it wasn't very core. It wasn't completely core focused. She was obviously the main character, but there was stuff going on with the other characters as well. Like Tenzin had a big story here, especially in the first episode of the finale. Janora, kind of her arc continued after we thought it was maybe over a couple episodes ago. Um, Mako and Bolin even got some moments. Eska Desna came back into things a lot as well, and just some huge kind of universe changing stuff happened here. Like that's big. Like a lot of complaints about the book one finale were that, oh, something bad happened to Korra, but then it was reversed at the end. That didn't really happen here. Stuff is changed kind of basically forever because of this finale, and that's amazing. Great setup for book three, which we now know is called Change. But yes, let's get into some specifics. I'm I'm gonna kind of cover both of them together because I think even more so than the first two episodes, these two episodes are meant to be viewed together as like a part one, part two of the finale, even though they have different names. But yeah, just the Korra stuff. I'll start off with just because it was the main focus. That was amazing because we got to see her using the avatar state. We got to see her in that role that Wan was in beginnings, and at least for the first in the first episode, we saw almost a complete carbon copy of that fight, minus obviously her becoming the avatar. In that, we saw that when once Wan became completely bonded with Rava, we saw that fight nearly happen again here when Korra nearly sealed away Vatu until Unalaq came back in, and even before that, there was some really intense stuff. Like she throws Unalaq out just before he bonds with Vatu, and she orders like Malcolm Bolin to stop him from coming in, and that was really intense. And that Unalaq was hiding in the forest and like sneak attacking them, and I thought they were gonna get hurt. And Malcolm Bolin were like, we may not win this fight, but we don't have to win. We just have to stop him from getting through. And it was just like, whoa, are they kind of like willing to sacrifice themselves to stop this happening? That was just really intense, and I like that. And then continuing the Eska Desna back and forth, you had those two come back in to kind of get Malcolm Bolin out of the way, and then you're left with that scene of them kind of together, and Bolin kind of reveals how he really feels about Eska, and we all think that he's kind of acting. Even Mako says it, but then Bolin's like, yeah, acting, as he kind of wipes a tear away. So he really did like Eska, given everything that happens, and that came completely out of surprise. But it worked. It really did work, I thought, and like I really was getting into that relationship as it progressed over the course of the episode, because those two just work really well together because they're both odd and the relationship is odd, and it works surprisingly well. So that was good. And you know, as things go on, you get that moment after that once Unalaq and Vatu combine, that the fight kind of continues on, and you get the epic kind of Rava assisted avatar stage where she speaks to Korra for like the first time basically, and you get that gold aura around Korra, and the fight continues and it's more even, and then that moment happens where Rava's ripped out of Korra, which I didn't expect to see, and then Korra's kind of left helpless here, and we basically see the destruction of all of Korra's past lives, all of the previous avatars here, her connection to them just gone. In this super dramatic scene, the music was emotional. Korra's reaction, she was feeling every one of these hits, and they even showed it, like the line of avatars, just Aang going, Roku going. It was crazy emotional, and given how like integral to the Avatar universe those avatars have been, this was a huge moment. This really kind of changes things, and I didn't expect to see this happen. Korra basically be the last avatar here. Rava kind of destroyed, even though we knew, if you remember beginnings, that she'll come back at some point, but how long will that take? And yeah, just really impressive way to end that first episode with Korra in that position, like helpless, Unavatu as the kind of combination's called, just in the complete ascendancy. Darkness Falls is a perfect name for that episode. And then even on the other side of things, we had Tenzin go through a really nice journey in the fog of lost souls. They come across the mushroom that can talk. I think the mushroom was voiced by Grey Delisle, which was interesting, as well as the scorpion spider spirit thing also being voiced. And they go to the fog of lost souls, and we see Zhao, which was a great reference. We know that he was dragged there by Koizilla, and it made complete sense that he was sent there to atone for killing the moon spirits, and it was just a really impressive kind of moment. And you also saw Iroh come back, which was great, and Tenzin and those. They put a time limit on it because it's been 40 years since they've seen him, so give or take, he's been in the spirit world for around 40 years, and it must mean that Iroh lived to be in or around 100 before he came to the spirit world, which was interesting. But yeah, just really impressive stuff. And then what that fog of lost souls did to them was interesting, because we see Boomy become afraid of cannibals, so he obviously has some deep-rooted fear of cannibals. And then Kaya's one was more character focused, in that we sort of knew about this, and that Tenzin called her on this before, that she only returned home after like going on this journey of exploration for years after her father passed away to be with her mother. So she has this kind of big fear of being kind of kept in one place and stuff like that, and that's what she kind of freaks out about here. And then Tenzin's thing is that he's failed as basically being Aang. He's failed at being the spiritual guide, being the hope for all future airbenders and all this. And then you get the epic moment where an older Aang appears, probably in or around the time he died, and he just says to Tenzin, like, just because the way the voice sounded, I was expecting this to kind of be part of his fear, that Aang would kind of just be mean to him and that would be part of the vision. But no, he just kind of points it out to him, like, you're not me, you are Tenzin, you're not a reflection of me. And that's how Tenzin gets over this. He realizes that that's what he's been doing kind of wrong all this time. He's been trying to be his father, yet that's not the case. He's himself, he's a different person. And then the fact that Tenzin uses this advice with Korra later on is just this perfect way of like Aang influencing Tenzin and then Tenzin influencing Korra. It's really well done, very impressive. But Yeah, then I suppose going into Light in the Dark, Korra is left in this position where she's basically helpless. She thinks she's the last Avatar. She thinks she's messed everything up. Her quest to basically do exactly what Wan did has failed, and she's really defining herself by the fact that she's the Avatar. I think she learned last season not to define herself by her bending, and now she has to learn here how to define herself not as just being the Avatar, not just being the person who has Rava in them. And Tenzin points that out using like Wan as a great example. Korra kind of looks at him as just like, look what Rava did with Wan, but the key thing was that Wan was basically the same person before he had Rava. Just Rava allowed him to influence the world in a greater way, and it's the same case with Korra. She's strong on her own, but with Rava she's even stronger, and I really kind of love that as a kind of one of these messages that this show really sends out. Korra's been a lot more subtle with the kind of life lesson type thing, but this was really interesting that you be yourself sort of thing. You're powerful as you are, not trying to be someone else. That's kind of it kind of would fit Zuko's kind of character arc as well. That he was trying to be the son his father wanted, yet he had to be himself, who he wanted to be. So that was really cool, and just the animation on Korra's face as she was kind of dealing with all this stuff, and then going into the Tree of Time, seeing her memories all there, and the reference to pure cosmic energy, seventh chakra. I feel they need to explain a bit more about like why is one of the chakras dealing with this, yet that's about like avatar state chakras, but it's also a personal thing, and then they just need to give a bit more detail on like what the specifics behind this thing is. But it made sense to me that Korra can basically show the true power of her spirit through the Tree of Time and connecting with pure cosmic energy. And it was really interesting that Korra's spirit manifested itself in this giant kind of blue vision of herself, and it was kind of perfectly fitting in that that's kind of who she is as a character. She's a strong avatar, and that's the way her kind of avatar, using the other definition of avatar, not the deity of the earth or something like that, the actual kind of like online avatar type thing. Her avatar of herself is this big blue version of herself, and it was really fitting for her as a character that that's what it turned out to be. And it also turned out that even without Rava she could bend all four elements, so that's a part of the Wan reincarnation thing. A lot of nice details referenced here, and wow, that kind of basically we got a kind of wrestling fight between Unavatu and Korra in her pure cosmic energy form. This like we saw like a high knee strike, a fisherman's carry. She basically did John Cena's attitude adjustment through a mountain to him, so that was pretty impressive. And it made sense that one of the key things here was that the combination of Korra and Rava is really balanced thing where like neither one is kind of taking control of the other, yet the Unalaq Vatu combination, Vatu basically just takes over Unalaq's body completely, and it's this monstrous thing. It's just there's a lot of fitting stuff here, and one of the key things is that in this battle is that's the Dark Avatar versus just Korra, who's a person, and that basically led to Unalaq's downfall. And that even though they basically destroyed Rava, they had a chance to take out Korra as well, but they only saw the spirit as a threat, and that's exactly the way Korra was thinking initially, that Rava's the only thing that makes her powerful, but she herself is powerful, and Unalaq didn't realise that, but now Korra does. And it was a really just symbolic fight there, that the big final fight didn't really involve Korra with Rava. She knew she could get Rava back, and that was important, and it was just really interesting the way Jinora then came back. And I assume the explanation on this is one of the things I feel that needs to be explained, what exactly Jinora did before she arrived there. Jinora basically I suppose, accelerated or increased the kind of light regeneration inside Vatu to return Rava to herself. Because that was the explanation in beginnings, that they would never be destroyed if they destroyed each other. They would like grow inside one another and then like basically reform. So there was something fitting there. And then Janor comes back and basically plants that seed of light inside Vatu, and Korra pulls it out, and you got the kind of big battle between Unalaq trying to dark bend Korra, and then Korra wins by light bending Vatu, which I actually completely called in my speculation video, so I was happy about that. And I still think they need to explain what exactly that light bending does. Like, Unalaq and Vatu were joined forever. So does that mean that the Dark Avatar now has a reincarnation cycle? But is what Korra did she actually kill like Vatu and Unalaq? Or has she just transformed them into a light spirit that will reform at some stage? They need to explain it. I feel it may come back at some point, maybe like book 4 or something like that, but it worked for what it was. They just need to explain that ability a little bit more. And then obviously we see Korra and Rava merge again as basically the end of the previous era of avatars and the start of a new one. Korra kind of ends the first cycle of avatars, starts the new one, and as far as she's aware, that connection may be gone forever with the past avatars, and it's kind of fitting that that's what this show has done. A lot of the complaints about the show in general have been people just comparing it to Avatar and only liking the Avatar The Last Airbender references. So I think it's perfect that what they've done is really make Korra forge her own path as the Avatar here. And at least in book 3, I assume for most of it, she's going to have to go on by herself as the start of this new cycle. I have a feeling that it probably will be referenced again. At some point she'll try and restore this connection. Not because I think it needs to like happen because I love these characters. Like, I do love the past avatars, and I would like to see them again. But I don't think it's like it's not like defining the way I like love this show because those characters are there. And I'm not gonna not watch Korra now because these past avatars are potentially gone now. I'm interested to see what they do with it. Like, will they have this actually last basically forever? She doesn't get the connection back, or will that connection be restored at some point? But Korra has had time to be the Avatar by herself. I'm not sure. I feel that they probably will restore the connection at some point, but rather than having it happen instantly, they're gonna wait over the course of the season, and it's really kind of weird. Some of this fandom is just impossible to please. The same people that complained about book 1 wanting Korra to go on a whole season-long journey restoring her bending instead of getting it back straight away are the same people asking for the past avatars connection to be restored instantly. It's just like kind of hypocrite type thing, but I loved this finale. This was great. Only kind of problem is some of the relationship stuff that happened. The final Korra scene, I just was very confused as to what they were trying to do, because ultimately it came down to, okay, Korra remembered through the tree of time about the breakup. Mako comes out and says whatever he says, and then Korra says, I think we both know that we're not meant to kind of be together, but they'll always love each other. And I was just left confused because, wait, you broke up in a kind of heat of the moment situation because you were arguing about whether or not to send an army to deal with a war. I'm just like, that's a really kind of crazy situation, and I don't think that really defines what your relationship is completely. So because of that, because of like the scenes being so kind of confused, like, this was what happened in the breakup, this is what happened in the second breakup here, I think they are getting back together at some point. And again, the problem is, supposedly Mako and Asami are meant to be back together, yet we don't see Asami for the rest of the episode. It's really confusing. So I really think Makora is happening at some point, and I just hope they don't focus on relationships of too much. And then the other thing, after all that great setup for Eska and Bolin, for her to then say, we have to go back home, that's fine. But it really just felt like them not being together, those two, was basically writing Eska and Desna out of book 3 and possibly 4. That they just didn't have time for it now. So it's really weird that they had so much setup for Bolin and Eska, and then, no, we're going back to see our mother, and it's just like first reference to their mother ever. I hope those characters come back. I hope Bolin and Eska is a relationship at some point, but I'm just not sure what this show is doing with its ships, because right now the main ships we have are supposedly Masami, which we haven't seen basically any of this season, and rather than that being the key thing, that those two are together, the big point about the end of this episode was that Makora is not together, and that was really odd to me. Only real complaint about the finale was that Sammy didn't get any massive moment in these final 2 episodes, but that was fine. But so yeah, I'll have a lot more to say about these episodes on the podcasts. On Sunday I'm going to be doing a podcast for K213 Darkness Falls, and then next Sunday is going to be the podcast for K214 Light in the Dark. So podcast still to come. I'll talk about these with some other fans on the podcast, Avatar Online podcast, which you'll find on avatarthelastabender.online.com. Later on today I'll probably have a new core news update video about some book 3 news. And then Saturday I'll be putting up, maybe Friday night I'll be putting up a video where I talk about the Korra Book 2 awards which we're doing on the site, which will be up on Friday, that post. So I'll explain all about how you participate in that and how it's going to work. So good few videos coming up, and of course that kind of new series of videos I've been teasing for a while will be coming. So thanks for watching this video, and bye.